What's it like to be a Jill of all trades in the entertainment industry? We'll talk about it on this episode of the Mind Dog TV podcast.
Is everybody ready for the Mind Dog, the Magnificent Show? Start the clock!
And welcome, my friends, to yet another episode of the Mind Dog TV podcast. I'm Matt Napo. Thanks for coming. It's great to have you here, as always. A Wednesday afternoon. I'm losing track of the days again, folks. If you notice on the calendar of shows, next 2 weeks seem really, really light. And I'm not hustling to fill them in. I think it's about time I take a serious vacation. I know I've said that before, and it just doesn't ever seem to happen. But I think I'm willing to actually have a vacation. We'll see, though. I have a feeling those dates will fill up anyway, and I'll end up doing shows next week. But I'm one burnt out puppy. Anyway, we're going to be talking about focus today. My guest today is what I like to say, a Jill of so many trades: podcasting host, published author, poet, writer, keynote speaker, stand-up comedian, television host, radio host. Uh, the list goes on and on. So I want to talk to her today about focus and staying focused on what on your goals, and how do you stay focused when you do so many different things. Important lesson for all of us. I know as the world changes and the landscape of the work environment changes, people have so many different avenues in which they kind of express their creativity. Now it seems like everybody in the creative arts is kind of branching out and doing more than one thing. So I think that's an important lesson. Before I bring her in today, I need to talk about today's sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by Fundwise Capital. Fundwise Capital is a business lender matching platform that gets you the best lines of credit guaranteed. You can apply online in 60 seconds or less, and there's no effect to your credit to see how much you can get. You can use the funding for anything you need to start or grow your business. Wait, did he say start? Yes, you heard me correctly. If you don't have a business, but you got a solid business plan that can help you get funding. And I don't mean just a whim or an idea. You have to have a solid business plan, which means getting together with an accountant and a marketing director, and a sales director, and all that kind of stuff, and getting it well documented. If you do all that, they can help you get funding. Get the best funding you can qualify for. Their strategic lender matching platform searches through hundreds of lenders to find the very best possible option for your unique situation. They have hundreds of five-star reviews on Google, Trustpilot, and Facebook, and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They provide unsecured lines of credit at 0% interest for 9 to 15 months, unsecured term loans, loans based on income, short-term gap funding, and bridge loans. They work with real estate, startups, just like I already mentioned startups, didn't I? They work with franchises, restaurants, any kind of business, any kind of project. To get started, it's really simple. You go to apply.fundwise.com/minddog, apply.fundwise.com/minddog, and they will help you get funding. Link is in the description. I certainly do appreciate you patronizing our sponsors. Now on to today's big program. The lady we're about to meet, wow, what a ball of energy and positive energy, and just success seems to be driven within her. Carmel Lucas is as I mentioned, a podcast host, published author, poet, writer, keynote motivational speaker, stand-up comedian, television host, radio host, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, please open your ears, open your minds, and help me welcome in Carmel Lucas to the Mind Dog TV podcast. Carmel, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, a little burnt out, but I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Kind of burned out myself, but hey, I keep moving, you
Well,
know?
I can't imagine you wouldn't be burnt out, and this is what I want to tap into some of your incredible energy here, because I just can't imagine how you do so many different things and stay energized and focused on all of those. So, what is your do you have a primary passion or focus on what you do, or you just will wait and see what opportunity presents itself?
Everything that I do is a passion. I'm a creative, so I like to keep moving, doing different things to find that creativity. If you say my passion is stand-up comedy and podcasting. It's one of my two passions, and writing poetry. Yeah, you know what? I like it all, honestly. I just like keep moving. I just love the creativity because each one is a different meaning. You can be whoever you want in each one that I do.
Right.
So I mean, I don't have a pick. I mean, if I had to pick, stand-up comedy is one of the things I love to do.
Well, that's interesting because and you are the probably the third or fourth female comic I've had on here. Somebody who's active in the stand-up comedy world. Most of the people I get on here are men in the stand-up comedy world, and the stand-up comedy world is definitely dominated by men. And I've been
Yes.
wanting to kind of and basically haven't had this conversation, even though I've had a couple of ladies on already from the stand-up comedy world, talk about the differences and the inequality. Of course, we know inequality is everywhere with men and women in the workplace
Right.
for fairness and the money and all that stuff. But in stand-up comedy, it seems to be extremely prevalent. And I'll give you an example. Looking at Foxwoods Casino, which is a big comedy venue up in Connecticut across the sound from where I am. This summer, I looked at their schedule, and the top male comedians were getting $350 a ticket, and the
Oh, wow.
top female comedians were getting $30 to $40 a ticket. That's
Wow.
that's a disparity. And so,
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about the struggles of being a lady in the comedy business.
Well, in the comedy business, it's kind of hard because you know women can't be when a woman try to be nasty. Like, I'm a type of female that I just say whatever that comes out my mouth. So whatever comes out my mouth might be nasty, it might be funny, and you know what I'm saying. But it's just like if you're a woman, you can't say the same thing as a man can say. And they look at you like, what is she talking about? Well, if a man say it, it's a different attitude, and everybody, I don't know. It's kind of hard for a woman. We have to go above our standards to equal out to be a part of the man society in the comedy. We can't talk nasty or we have to be clean or whatever. I'm not clean. Okay. I am not clean. I'm telling you, I will say whatever comes out my mouth. I've been watching Richard Pryor as I grew up. I watched Red Fox as I grew up. So my thing is Bernie Mac. So my thing is I love the way they carry themselves and how they do it. And so I picked it up from them, and now my mouth is dirty, you know. So,
Yeah, no, I
so
grew up on that stuff too. I have to say, either you look far younger than you are, or there's some because I grew up on Red Fox records. I grew up with Richard Pryor and Bernie Mac too. But I'm an old guy. You look very young. I'm just wondering
Well,
how
you
that.
know what? When your parents is watching Red Fox or listen to Richard Pryor, you're gonna sneak and start to listen to what they're saying, even though you're supposed to be in bed sleep. You still gonna sneak and start listening. So I still start listening to when my mom will turn on the comedy channel and Richard Pryor is on the channel, and I'm supposed to be asleep. I'm sneaking in the hallway trying to figure out what he's saying so I can say it, later down the line. But it's kind of hard for women, but I love being me. Being me is being the true self of who I am. And I can be clean if I want to. A lot of people say that, girl, you should be, you should start being clean. But I don't think, I mean, I can be clean with certain events or whatever, but I like to go into clubs and say what I want to say. I don't have to cover up anything.
Right. Obviously, you've hosted television, so you can be. Yeah, obviously, you have the ability to work clean
Wait,
if you
I have
have.
the ability. Look, I have the ability to be clean, and I know how to be clean. But when you go to comedy clubs, and you get a couple drinks into things come out that you just didn't know that's gonna come out.
Right. Yeah. Uh,
you know,
what
so
what about because there's a big thing now about the treatment of women by other by male comics in the comedy world, and it's part of that whole Me Too stuff. But it's especially, at least from what I hear on Twitter, from female comedians about. The old boys club and the locker room mentality, and you have to do certain things to get mic time as a lady. Have you experienced any of that, or
I never experienced any of that because I just tell a person really quick about what I'm about. I'm not gonna lay on my back to get to get on the mic. You know what I mean? So I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do no sexual favors for anybody just for me to get some time. It's not gonna happen. So I just let them know straight up. They be looking at me. When you're in the green room, they're looking at you like, no, buddy.
We were sorry to have lost you there, but I can understand what's going on now. You're not driving, right? You're sitting still in the car.
I was sitting in the car, and what happened was I would try not to cut on the air conditioning so it won't because I have some things to do, and my phone actually overheated while I was sitting here. So it had to be really hot out here to.
Wow, where are you?
What? I am over here by I'm in Orlando, but I'm in Winter Garden. And I had like a little meeting, and then so I was like, "Oh my God, let me get up here with my Mind Dog TV." So I'm here now. Now back to what I was saying. I am not gonna lay down on someone on my back or give anybody a blowjob, a BK, just to get on a mic. I'm not gonna do it. So you might as well go ahead and walk the other direction because I'm not the one.
Does that make it harder to get a mic time though, and get?
Yes, it does. And the thing about it is that's why a lot of people when you don't do what they want you to do, you don't get the time that you want. And I know a great example. I went to this comedy club, and it was like talent night, open mic night, and he's picking out the ones that he wants to come every Saturday to perform, right? So when I walked in, he was like, "Oh, you look gorgeous. I love the way you smell. You smell like caramel." And I'm like, "Okay, I already know what this is." You know what I mean? I'm booking people for shows and stuff like that, and I want you to come every Saturday, as long as you smell good, like you're smelling. And I'm like, "All right." So when I told him no, and I got on stage and did what I did, I performed or whatever. But when I told him no, I'm not going to because he was getting that touchy feeling. I'm like, hold up, no, wait. And so he never called me back to be on the show. So I already knew what it was. And so he never called me back. He was like, I'm not messing that girl.
That's kind of messed up, I have to say. It's really, but it is very prevalent, and I don't know why comedy particularly ended up being there, because it's not. I can tell you, it's not that way in music. I've never seen that in music, and I know back in the day, of course, and I suppose on the record company. When they go to sign the big deal, there's a casting couch for, record labels and all that kind of stuff. But I've never seen it in clubs or club level stuff ever with women. So it's curious to me how comedy went that way, but it's sad that it is that way. Are you based in Orlando? Is that where you're based?
I'm based in Orlando, yeah.
So, do you when you're doing stand-up, is it in the local area, or do you branch out and do the road comic experience?
I branch myself out. I book myself in different places, but recently I've been focusing on other things. But I've been doing stand-up and stuff like that. I have a couple shows to do in North Carolina or whatever. I'm gonna go there soon. But I also do here locally. I do open mic night every third week, every month, and I'll do an open mic so people can have opportunity to have a talent to come out and show their talent or whatever, and just be themselves and have a good time. And so I host that every month, every third week.
Before, when we were talking, when we first got started, you mentioned some influences, and I had to notice that all three were male. Now, they were great guys. I mean, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, and Bernie Mac, great comedians. Were you influenced by any lady comedians?
Wanda Sykes.
Okay. Yeah.
Funny. Yeah, just the way she talked, she was funny. She's like one of the female comedians. I'm like, wow, she's crazy. And probably I don't know if you know her, but some more.
Oh yeah.
Um, I love her too. I just love her filthy mouth. That when she come out and say stuff, and I just love the way she just herself. I like Monique too, and I think she's funny. But if anybody that is my idol, I would say Samore and Wanda Sykes. I think them two are funny. Whoopi Goldberg was funny too now,
Yeah,
but she wasn't really a comedian. I don't. I mean,
I agree. She was funny? I don't know what happened to Whoopi. Like whether because she was hysterical when she was doing stand up and she was doing
yeah,
one woman shows and stuff. I don't know what she got like really serious and really there's nothing wrong with being passionate about issues and all that stuff. I'm not sure if that daytime show, The View or whatever, has kind of done that. But for people tend up, and I think it's a trend in comedy, which is interesting, is that once you become successful in comedy, you no longer are so concerned with being funny. You want to be almost put out a lecture. I noticed that.
yeah.
I think yeah,
That is,
I think Dave Chappelle is kind of at that point where he's gone from being the funniest man in comedy to now. And then again, I don't see that there's anything wrong with it, but being more of like a stately college professor giving out commentary on world issues and politics and things like that. Do you see that happening?
I see that happening. A lot of comedians do that. They go the opposite direction, and how they became funny. I feel like they should continue being that way. That's what people love about you. They love the funny part of you. And I don't know if I became famous, I would never change nothing. That's what I say now. But a lot of people are like, oh, that's what you say now. But when you get big money, you're gonna start talking about other shit. But excuse my language. But
No, you can say whatever
anyway,
you want here.
so the thing about it is just like, I don't feel a person should change, but when you in TV and stuff like that, I feel like sometimes they make you change,
Right.
and you become someone different. You're not the same person as you was before. They want you to be more commercial or more this, and when you were how you became famous, that's what you should stay as. You know,
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
they change you all the time. So I mean, anybody. I mean, I don't want nobody to change me. So
I think you'd probably be pretty strong in that. You seem like you have a very strong personality. Put it that way. So,
I mean, raised around boys. Look, I grew up. That's why when I said the men comedy is because I was raised around boys. A lot of female comedy, I like, but I like that hardcore stuff. And
yeah.
the hardcore stuff comes from the man point of view.
Right.
And that's what I've been raised around boys. So that's all I know. Only female and siblings. And all boys, hey, you're gonna be hardcore regardless of the fact, right?
Right. So on your podcast now, what is the name of your podcast?
It's called Keeping It Real with Cameron, as we say, 100.
Okay. And what is the focus? Are you interviewing comedians? Are you interviewing business people? What is the focus of the podcast?
So first time when I started, it was about comedians, but then I was like, you know what? I think everybody needs to be heard. So it's about entrepreneurs that want to be heard, want to tell their truth, want to let people know, like I started this way. I've been through so many things in my life, but now here I am. I have so many people that came because a lot of people think that you get rich overnight. A lot of people think that that you don't go do anything to become to be where you at. But you got to realize that it's a backstory of how they got to where they are and why they're doing the purpose of what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Right.
And that's the reason for my podcast is to dig down and let's be friends. Let's talk. Let's see let's tell people what you've been through and where you at now so they can know that it's not easy. It doesn't come overnight, and this is what you go through. And I want everybody to be heard. I don't care if you're an artist. I don't care if you're a porn star. If you're an entrepreneur, then you're an entrepreneur. I don't care if you're a stripper. I don't care if whatever you are, and you're an entrepreneur and you're making money, let's go. You can be a drug dealer. I don't care. You're making money though. You're an entrepreneur. You know,
Right. Yeah.
it
No,
doesn't.
I hear you. And have you had any porn stars on your show?
I haven't had any porn stars, but I was looking for some to come up there so they can tell me what the real deal is. You know.
I've
So
had one, and I can recommend it. I can recommend her to you because I think she'd be pretty good. But I've had one on here. Very different experience for me because I was kind of intimidated by it. You know, for, I don't talk to to porn stars every day, and so or ever, and so that for me it's kind of like I don't know where I can go without you know. It's a sensibility issue too. Am I going to be a creep or am I going to ask like typical porn star fan questions? And I don't, not a big fan of the genre, so I don't know them and I don't know about them. So it's a tricky thing. But I can help you get one. I know.
I would love to talk to them because I would want to know like the backstory of what made you choose that journey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or how many men at one time? I mean, like, come on, let's get some real talk here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was interested in that too, and also the fact that the one I did talk to, she was married to, and I believe her husband was a porn star, and the idea of jealousy and all that's how do you stay in a committed, relationship with someone when they know your job is going out to have sex with somebody else? That's got to be.
And then another thing too is I would ask like, how are you getting satisfied by your husband when you might have somebody way better than him? You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Vice versa. If he's out there doing the same thing, how do y'all make yourselves happy? You
Right.
know, you might find a female that can do double tricks, and you don't only do single ones. You know. So
Yeah, well, after the interview, I had to go research some of her work, and I got to tell you, for an old man like me, it was shocking. I was like, oh my God, I mean, blushing and just like I had to tell my wife. I mean, like, do people really do this kind of stuff in real life? I mean, or is this a portrayal of what's really happening? I mean, obviously, it's pumped up and kind of overdone, but is that how people really see sexual relations in the world today? It's mind-boggling.
yeah.
What is your take on that? Do you because I think it's gone way over the top. I mean, but I don't know. I'm an old man. I don't know.
I think that people are being people. I think that this has been happening for a long time. It's just coming out in the world, and I feel like this is what's happening. This is the news. And people have to realize, like, back in the day, they was doing the same thing. They was watching TV, having sex with everybody.
I said that to the porn star when I had her on because she was under the impression that there was sexual revolution changed everything. I said I don't think so. I think my grandmother's day they were pretty wild. We just don't hear about it, and they wouldn't have film.
Exactly. We don't have. They didn't have the internet.
Right.
They didn't have none of the stuff that we have, the technology that we have. So they was back there doing dirt way back in the day, but no one knew. Because they didn't have the technology. Now we have the technology to see what everybody is doing. And now we're like, oh, God, I didn't know that happened. Oh, yeah, you did. It was happening back in the day. So don't play. Like, come on. So, I think that this is what the world is about. The world is about change, right? So if anybody want to have, I mean, if they're single or married, however they do their relationship, that's their relationship. Everybody don't see the same way of a relationship, but some people understand each other, and that's what they want to do. Then go for it. It's not bothering me. I don't care if you have 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't care.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you can't judge people for what they do. You just got to say that's their life and keep moving. Some people want to judge and call them names and stuff like that. You can't judge just because. I think people that call them names is jealous that they can't do it.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I was going to say that. Basically, I feel like, I don't know if jealousy, but I feel like I missed something. And I like all these experiences. And I said this to my wife the other night. It's like, it's not like I'm too old to do anything about it at this point anyway. But
right.
When I see all and hear about these things, I'm like, man, did I miss out on a part of my life I should have been doing? I should have been much more wild. I mean, you hear about.
I mean, you did your life the way you thought you should do it, but at the end of the day, some people is so out, venturous. They want to go and test a lot of things, and be who they are. Maybe that's the way they are, just like any other body. Like everybody want to be different. You know what I
Right.
mean? Right now,
Yeah.
you're experiencing life. As someone told me before, you only die once. So meaning is that you got to enjoy your life no matter what you do, how you do it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. I
I'm gonna
and I
enjoy my life. So if I want 10 or 20, hey, that's what it is. You can call me a hoe. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna still do me. But
yeah.
at the same time, I'm very picky. So but I ain't
That, but at the same time, you know.
Oh, we were kind of having some audio issues all of a sudden. I think did your air
So
conditioning just
it's
kick
just
on?
what it is.
Yeah, I know. What about a support system for your creativity? A lot of creative people, they get in the world, they're out there trying to do things that, make them happy, whether it's comedy, whatever, performing, all that kind of stuff. And friends and family are not always all supportive of your dream and what you want to do. What is your system like? Do you have a good support system, people who build you up, or are you constantly having to kind of build yourself up?
Well, you know what? Me personally, I don't know. I think I'm just a busybody. I just don't want to sit down and do. I don't know. I just like being active and being creative is what I love to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But so there's nobody. I mean, people who kind of are your support system and kind of hold you up and kind of encourage you to keep doing that stuff. Versus some people. I know when I was young, there were a lot of people who were trying to get me to convince me to give up on all creative stuff. And why don't you just go get a regular job and be a regular person? Have you had any of that, or had to deal with
I
any
don't
of that?
know. Actually, I have people be like, "Oh, I can't believe that you're doing this and you're doing that." You know what I'm saying?
Good for you.
And they encourage me to do more stuff, but I can't put any more stuff on my plate
Right.
because the thing
No.
about it is with me is it's like, I'm always thinking of a new ideas. And I'm always want to experience the new ideas. I don't care if they fail. I don't care if they be good. It's just like I want to try something new. And if you don't try it, how do you know it's going to succeed?
Right. No, I get it. If the one way to ensure failure is to never try. So is there anything, because you do so much stuff here, is there anything on your bucket list that things that you want to do? I mean, creatively now, not necessarily go climb Mount Everest or any of that kind of nonsense. But I mean on your bucket list as far as creatively that you want to do that you haven't done.
Well, another creative thing is I want to be a stripper. No, it's playing.
Uh, that's okay. That's
No,
pretty easy.
you know what? You know what? I think I have done, like, I am doing what what I want to do. And I don't have anything on my list that I want to do right now, but um I think that I'm gonna continue creating some shit that people might not want to see, but at the same time I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me.
Right.
And everything that I do is because I wanted to say I did it. Before I get off this earth, I want to be able to say, I did that, or something happened. Someone can say, oh, I remember when Caramel did this, and I remember when Caramel did that. You know, I want to leave at least someone talking about me before, when I go and be
Right.
like, yeah, I remember when Caramel did that. So I'm just trying to leave a footprint on earth so people can say that I did it.
Legacy, right? Yeah, I agree. Basically have the same outlook on stuff. But I'm kind of getting to the end of the road here, and I'm like, I don't know if I've achieved all that. How would you measure success for yourself? I mean, because it's a difficult thing in this life. People want to measure success for you or dictate what success means. How do you go about kind of defining what it means to be successful? What, like, let's say you're starting when you wrote your book. Did you have plans? Was publishing a milestone that's getting it published, a milestone that said I've been successful? Was it based on how many sales, and when you reach that number of sales, how do you define what makes you a success?
Well,
And
based on the sales, you know, only thing I say is my sales are good when it comes to the with my book and my poetry. And I'm glad that people are buying it, but at the same time, I want people to buy more books. And but at the same time, right now the way the world's going, things are very crazy right now, but everything is good with me. I don't ask for too much. I just want people to buy my book or go on my website and purchase something, do something. But at
yeah,
the end of the day, if they don't do it, at least I know that it's out there. And if you do want it, then you go get it. If you don't want it, I'm not going to force anyone to, you better go get my book.
right.
But I'm like, it's there for you to read or whatever, and go for it. It's a good book. Shit, like, come on, like, you can't beat life situations. It's about life situations. So, you know,
And it's called In Love with the Other Man. Now tell me
in love with the other man. And the
what
thing about with that is, like, it's not male bashing and it's not woman bashing, but it do show you that it's a lot of good women out there and a lot of good men out there. And so, I mean, it's life situations. Like I said, it's erotic, a lot of sex, you know.
it is. It's a
So, I mean, it's a good book. I mean, if you like erotic books and romance books and life situations, then that's the book for you.
is it it's all fiction, right?
It's fiction. Well, yeah, it's fiction to
Uh
a point, you
right,
know.
right. Well, I
I've
want to
seen a lot of things in life. So me seeing a lot of things in life, I wrote about it, and I didn't put nobody's name on it. I should have, but I didn't. But
well, that's kind of something I talk to authors about on a regular basis, is this idea of, yeah, it's fiction, but I always think the protagonist, the main character, has a lot of qualities of the authors, and in some way, it's always somewhat. I don't want to say biographical, but there's a lot of you in that main character, the protagonist. Am I right in that with your story or not?
well, when I was writing the main character, it's actually four of them. And someone asked me, does each character have a little part of me? And I'm gonna say, yep. And that's the reason why I wrote it, because I have a little part of each of the characters, and that's why I wrote it, honestly. But I have friends that is one character. I have another friend that's another character, and I just put it all together, and and that's what it came. I mean, I feel like it's a good book. Everybody that read it, it was like, where's the second? And it takes time. People think that writing is easy. Writing is not easy. You have to want to write, and you have to get into the writing, you know? You just
Absolutely.
can't do it right away. You cannot. It's just like, it's hard, because you have to have that mindset of, okay, I'm ready to write this book. But then you get off track because you get writer's block because you don't know what you're writing.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that in one sense, because I've been working on two books. One I started 5 years ago, one I started 2 years ago, and I do get to that point where I put them both down for a period of time and walk away with it. And when it comes to writer's block, I think it's just I'm not sure what I want to say, and it's as simple as that. And I gotta have to think about it. And part of that, they say the struggle with writer's block is just write something, even though it's not going to be what you want. You can always edit it later, but the best way to get out of what people think of as writer's block is just to write something, anything. Not be afraid to write junk.
Well, when I get writer's block, I just walk away from it because I don't want to write something that I know that I'm not going to use,
Right.
and I think it's, to me, my opinion is useless of me writing something that I'm not going to use, and then I'm going to throw it away anyway because I don't want to use it.
Right.
So I have to walk away and get my mind clear. And then as I get my mind clear, maybe get some Moscato or something. And then I'll think about it and I go back and say, okay, I'm ready to write again,
Right.
But I just can't write just anything. I just can't do
Interesting.
it.
So, with your stand-up comedy, are you the kind of person who actually writes down your material and rehearses it, or are you a more of a crowd working and off the cuff type of what's the experience on that? Because I'm trying to get where I'm going to here is the difference and similarities, if there are any, between writing a book and writing for stand-up comedy.
Well, I'm a type of comedian that sometimes I write. I don't practice anything, you know what I mean? Because I feel like practicing is that you're going to forget what you're going to say on stage.
I agree.
And I would be like, oh man, what am I supposed to say? You know what I'm saying? So I will write down, for example, I will write down like grandma. Right? So that means I'm going to talk about my grandmother. You know what I mean? I know exactly what I'm going to say about my grandmother.
Right.
Or I'll write down something like in the bathroom. And then I know that I'm going to talk about something in the bathroom. But I just can't practice something that I'm going to forget later because they said the practice doesn't seem real. And you want to be on stage and you want to feel real and say how, react to it. Because when you practice, you're like, it's like acting, actually. You have to read the words over and over and over again. And then when you get on set, you have to do the scene. Well, that shows acting. So when you're on stage as a comedian, you want to show people the firsthand, fresh, new, what you're going to do on stage,
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I always I feel the same way. I don't with my band. We've never had a rehearsal in 21 years. We basically we looked at our early gigs as paid rehearsals, but we've never actually had like a real rehearsal, and I hate that. I think it takes the spontaneity out of it, and it takes a lot of the magic, that energy. But I know many comedians who will write out their entire set, rehearse it, and get down. And some of them are the most successful comedians I've known. So I guess there's something to that, but I just never can relate
Yeah,
to
some
that.
do, and they come out perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean? They come out so perfect, and I'm like, wow, that's good. You know what I mean? And some
Yeah.
comedians can't do it. Some comedians be like, okay, I wrote it down, but then they come out like I wanted it to come out. And it depends on the person or how the person can get on stage and do their performance, their set.
Right.
Everybody can't do the same thing. Everybody's not gonna be a one-liner. Some people are going to be storytellers, and some people are going to be one-liners, and some people are not. So it depends on the person that they are to perform in front of the audience. But I love the audience. Look, I'm going to tell you, like when I did my drag queen show, that was one of the best shows I ever did. And I love drag queens. Okay. So I did a drag queen show, and it was in Naples, Florida. And what the show is that it's called Stand Up or Get Dragged Down. And stand up means that you can stand up on stage as long as they like you, or they drag you the hell off the stage if they don't. And when I got on stage, they let me stand up. They let me talk like I want, but I was talking about all kinds of things, adult things, and so they loved it. And so that was like one of the best shows. I mean, going to a drag queen show and doing stuff like that, that is awesome.
I'm always confused. And I'm believe me, I'm an open-minded guy. Whatever you want, whatever floats your boat. But I don't. I'm confused by the fascination with drag queens. I mean, you would think, however many thousands of years into humanity, the uh, the the newness of a man dressed as a woman or pretending to be a woman would at some point become no big thing, but people are still fascinated by them. And I have a friend who he goes to drag queen shows all the time, and I'm like, what's the big fascination there? Why is it so popular? Can you help me figure that out?
I mean, you know what, I feel like it's just like women dressing up as men.
Yeah. Women
and
can do
men
that
dressing up as
and not be
women.
a drag queen. Like women, I mean, when I was a
But
kid,
listen, it's basically the same thing, and I feel like that is fine. That is okay. You
yeah, I
can
agree.
be who you want to be. If that's what you want to do, it's some pretty drag queens out here. Don't play. And I'm looking like, oh my gosh, she's gorgeous, and it's just it's just the way they are.
Yeah,
And I feel like if that's who you want to be, then be who you are,
right.
And I know a lot of people is like, that's a boy, he just like a female, but that's okay.
I
They're
think
more,
it's
they're
okay too.
beautiful. And I don't have, look, I'm open-minded.
Me too.
Okay. I'm very open-minded, and I don't care about how you look or who you look like or what you look like, as long as you respect me for who I am. You know what I mean?
I
I
agree.
don't care about what you do, how you do it, when you do it, or how many people you did it with, as long as you respect me, you
Right.
know?
No, I agree, and I'm definitely, when it comes outside of entertainment, people, whatever floats your boat sexually, or gender wise, or any of that stuff, I don't have any judgment about that, and I don't have any judgment about the drag queens. I'm just confused by why it's such a popular entertainment thing. And here's the thing that I'm confused about, and I don't know. I don't go to a lot of drag queen shows, but I'm under the impression that most of the acts are based on women from my generation and before. Like you don't see, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but and you having done one of these shows or more than one, maybe can correct me if I'm wrong. You don't see people doing like younger female stars. Like you don't see guys coming out doing like Billie Eilish or Rihanna or those people. It's all Cher, Judy Garland. Still, I don't know, older ladies. Why do you think that is?
I I don't know, but I do know that Cher and them, they share Whitney Houston,
Whitney
all of
Houston,
them share, they Aretha Franklin. You know
right?
what I mean? They adore people like that. You know what I'm saying? Patti LaBelle, and this is what people adore. So at the end of the day, I have been to drag queen shows, and I have been to like the I've been to gay clubs before, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
going to the shows and seeing what songs they be playing and how they be dancing and having a good time. Look, it's amazing. These women are idols to them. And they want to be just like that, you know what I mean? And I appreciate that, because it's no normal female that's going to be dressed up like that. Come on now. We know
No,
we
it's
don't dress
over
up
the top. I
like
know.
that at all. But at the end of the day, we don't do that extra spunk or put that extra makeup on. And if we did, how would we look? I do not know. But I think that it's phenomenal. I look at RuPaul all the time. RuPaul is one of my favorite, and I just love the way the girls come up there and do their thing, walking the runway, doing it. And RuPaul is an idol now,
Right. The only problem I ever had was RuPaul, and it's not like a big problem. It's just I felt like when he was bullying Milton Berle a little bit on some award show. I forget what it was, but he was definitely. And I get, whatever if people think Milton Berle was a bigot or whatever, but I think because he was such a frail old man at the time, and RuPaul seemed to be really just enjoying bullying him. That kind of was a turn off for me. But
I
it's,
don't know, but I don't have a problem with RuPaul. I just love him. I want his money, but
you know, I
other than that, I think he's gorgeous. I think like I said before, like time has changed,
no doubt about it.
and you're gonna see the things that used to be normal. Though I'm gonna say it like this: the things that used to be abnormal is normal, you
Yeah,
know. And this world is becoming to be a world that is called unique, different, you
right,
know. And if you're gonna live in the world, you have to accept what is going on in the world. You
right,
can't fight it, because as our kids grow up, it's going to be another change to the world,
Right.
and we just have to live in the world and die afterwards and say, hey, we made it, like we did now, like, but it's just like, this is what it is, and you can't complain about it because you win it. And
No,
they say you change, everything's changed every day, right? So
I
it's
hear.
gonna be a change
Yep.
daily.
Yep, I hear you, and I want to comment on that, but it just occurred to me. I forgot about this. I'm working with a drag queen this Saturday, who's doing a share show. Just in case people are like, I can't believe you were talking about that and didn't know and didn't mention it. It's the same place that worked with a Diana Ross, drag queen, female impersonator, 2 years ago, or right before all the lockdown pandemic nonsense. So back at the same place out in Orient, Long Island, New York, where we'll be working with the drag queen this weekend. I said I've never been to one of those shows, but I've actually had them open for me. But to your point about being different, at some point, everybody trying to be different, it loses its ability to be different anymore, because now if everybody's trying to be different and doing the same things, all of a sudden you're not different, you're part of being normal again. So I think sometimes it will be cyclical, like and kind of people will become more, I don't want to say conservative, because that's not, I don't mean politically conservative. I mean old fashioned, and kind of go back and thinking that's the way to stand out and be different and differentiate yourself from the crowd. If everybody else is going wild and being shocking or trying to break down barriers and become different, all of a sudden different becomes same. And so now the way to be stand out is to go back to doing traditional,
Well, yeah, because everybody's trying to stand. Like you said, I agree. Everybody's trying to stand out.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to be different, but at the same time, the next person trying to be the next person to be different. You know what I'm saying? And right, maybe being different is going back to the tradition. That's different. Like, oh, okay, you back to the old school. But I don't really think I think everybody's trying to be themselves. I think now in this society, everybody is, as they say, getting out the closet.
Yeah.
And they're being themselves. This is where they were for a long time, and finally the world is accepting who they are. And I think like this is a good time for them or everybody to come out and be who they're supposed to be.
Right. I agree.
Because a long time back in the day, if they found out that something about you that was wrong, was different, they'll say something, or your parents feel embarrassed by you or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they wasn't used to it. They're like, oh, they told me that you were da 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 da. And I'm like, and then you had to deny it.
Yeah.
But then now, society now, that you don't have to deny anything. You can be whoever you want to be. And that's a good thing about society today.
I agree. I was shocked recently. My drummer called us up and said he had a last minute gig. Why you guys want to take the gig? We thought we were off that night. We said, sure, we'll play the gig. It turned out to be a dive biker bar. And his son, who is experimenting with cross-dressing now, I guess that's the best way to put it, because he's not doing it great. But he showed up, his son came to the bar, showed up in, women's clothing and was, I don't want to say in drag, because it's not drag, it's cross-dressing, it's transvestite. But we're fine with that. But I thought, in a biker bar, a dive bar like that, in my day, he would have got beaten up just for showing up that way. But nobody gave him any problem at all. They just accepted him, and which was shocking to me, but in a good way. I was really surprised that people are not as stupid as you think they are sometimes.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you know what? It shouldn't shock anybody.
I know. It's
It
shocking
shouldn't shock
that it didn't
anybody
shock
right
them.
now because the world is changing. We see it on the news how everything is changing. We see a lot of things in the news, and I don't see why people should be so shocked about what change is.
Yeah, yeah,
It's older people now that we didn't know anything about, and they're coming out the closet as well, and we're like, what? We didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? So everybody is being themselves, and that's what the world is about. You have to be yourself. People think something's wrong with a person just because they want to be a girl, or just because they want to be a boy, or just because they choose the significant other as a man or another female. You know what I mean? But
right.
that's their preference. Whatever they choose to do with their lives, that's their lives. You don't have to pay their bills. You don't have to clothe them or feed them. So it's none of your damn business about what they do and how they do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that's how I feel about it. And then I'm like, you love people for who they are, not for what they do.
Exactly, I agree.
You know,
It's always surprising to me to see people later in life coming out and they say coming out of the closet. I don't. I'm
it
sure
shouldn't be
somebody will be.
surprising. It
Yeah,
should, it
it
should
must have been a
surprise you
huge
because
closet, man. I'm
this
telling
is
you.
the way they. They were. This is the way they were the whole time. So why are you so surprised? Like, they were scared to come out in the world and let the world know who they are because they've been judged for a long time. So we are judgmental people,
Yeah, I know.
and
I
we
know we are.
judge everything that someone do or how they do it. You know what I mean?
I
And if
agree.
someone walked the street the wrong way, oh, they walk left, they supposed to right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or if someone looking at you the wrong way, why are you looking at me like that? Or they judging you for how you look or how you look like or whatever. So we're judgmental people. So of course the older heads are not gonna come out like that because back in the day they couldn't do it. And so
Right.
now they can. So this is a time for them to come out and be themselves.
Right. I had a stand-up comedian on who was spent 30 years in the business as a male stand-up comedian. Eventually had a sex change, and now he's in his 60s and he's a female comedian. But his son, his son was having some kind of party to honor him, and people were like, oh, my father's here, and expecting to see a man walk through, and they see this old lady walk through the door. I thought this was about your father. That's my father. That's a very unusual place to be. But um, in your all of things that you do, the one thing that I think it is not there, which is surprising, is music. Is there any music in you at all, or do you have any aspirations in that?
But you see though, and I had a friend that I didn't even know. I've been knowing my friend for years. I didn't know. But she came out, and I love her more now than I ever did before, only because it's just like, I had a couple friends that came out, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know this. You know what I'm saying? You never made a pass at me, you know? So, like, what was wrong with me? No, but
Uh,
but seriously though, but as long as they're happy and they're living happy, that's all that matters.
right. Yeah. No, I agree, and it's good to hear that you have that attitude towards stuff. Now, with you, I know we're running out of time here, and I want to be respectful of your time. With the poetry stuff, have you given any thought to lending that to music or in any way, or is that something that is a vocation for you, or just like what is behind what is the reason for the poetry? Is it something that you see as a career thing, or it's just something that fulfills you spiritually and makes you happy to do? Tell me about the poetry.
Mm, I don't know about music. You said music. Uh-uh. Um, I don't think I want to get into music. You
Really?
know? No. I don't. I mean, I would. I
I'm
don't even
surprised
know.
by that.
You know what? The music industry. I mean, maybe write a song or something or whatever. Boy, I don't know. I think I like the poetry part of it. I like writing poetry, and maybe I can transfer my poetry to music. Yeah, I don't know how that goes or whatever, but I don't know. I don't think I want to get in the music industry. I
I'm
mean, I don't
surprised.
think it's for me.
I'm
You know.
surprised that by that because most of the people I know who write poetry have some kind of um, I don't want to say musical aspirations, but it's a music rhythm to the way they write poetry and kind of have a musical voice behind the poem. So no, that
Yeah, a
doesn't
lot of
come
people
into
that
it.
write poetry gets into music, but I don't think that I want to do that. I don't want to live in that type of environment, in the music
No, I get
environment.
it. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
no, I might write a song or two and try to make some billions or something. Maybe write for Chris Brown or somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not into. I love music. Trust me, I do. But I don't think I want to get into it because I could be. I don't know. I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to continue writing poetry, continue getting into books and let people read my poetry. Other than that, I mean I could be a ghostwriter for somebody, but I don't know.
Have you had any of that experience ghostwriting?
I did one I did one and it went well. But it was like hectic to me. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's so hectic to me, and I don't like being overwhelmed because when I do something, I want to enjoy it. And if I
I hear
can't
you.
enjoy it and being overwhelmed and it's hectic, then I don't want to deal with it.
I
I
hear
walk
you.
away from it. I want to enjoy it. Everything. It's like having sex. You want to enjoy it. You want to take your time, right?
You
So I
don't want it
want
to
to
be a
take my
job,
time and
right?
enjoy it, and I couldn't enjoy it. So I was like, this is too much for me. It's going too fast. So I had to walk away from it. So I didn't want to do that anymore.
Well, thank you for that because that basically sums up my attitude about life right now. And I hadn't thought about it before, but I like the way that you said it's like sex. You want to take your time and enjoy it. I'm at the point in my life where I don't want to do anything that feels like a job. I know that sounds selfish and childlike and immature and all that stuff. I don't want to do anything that feels like a job. So thank you for
You're
giving me
right.
something to
You're
call it.
right. I mean, come on. Like, you have to take your time and things. You can't rush anything. When you rush things, you miss out on a
Right.
lot of things. And when you take your time, then you'll get the fulfillment of what's supposed to be there for you. And so I
Absolutely.
don't like to rush anything. I wanted it to come to me and take it slow and do what I want to do. I could be a serialpreneur, entrepreneur, and do so many different things, but I have to enjoy every bit of everything that I'm doing.
Very good. Very positive message and a great way to end this conversation. I do thank you for coming here and sharing your insights today. CaramelLucas.net. The link is in the description, folks. That's where you'll find the book. Now, the podcast link is also there and links to everything else she does and is involved in. When is the podcast? When do you publish?
The podcast is already published. And
When is
it's everywhere. It's on Spotify, iTunes,
is it weekly?
Amazon, everywhere.
Is it a weekly thing, a monthly thing?
It's like when I schedule thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's not like on a steady, like a steady schedule, like you do it every Friday, or none of that stuff.
Well, yeah, it's whenever. Like when I schedule some things, like this
I
week I'm
think
gonna
I'm
have
gonna
two
go with
on.
that.
So yeah.
I'm gonna go with that model whenever I feel like doing it. I've been doing 2 shows a day for a year, and just like got burnt out on it. So I need to adopt your attitude. Whenever I feel like it. I love it. Well,
Hey,
thank you for coming here. I wish you great success. I hope people go to your website, buy the book, check out the podcast, and support you in anything else you're doing. Any other dates that we should know about as far as the comedy stuff coming up?
well, no. If you in the Orlando area, Florida area, come out for my caramel birthday bash. Coming up the 21st of August. And if you're not, then hey,
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So you're like right on the cusp there of Leo and Virgo. What are you? Are you a Leo at the 21st?
I'm a Leo.
All right. I'm a Virgo. I'm born August 30th. So
Well, I was born August the 16th, but I'm having my birthday bash on the 21st.
Oh, so yeah, 2 days ago was your birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday. I hope
Thank
you
you.
enjoyed it. I hope it went well. Well, thank you for coming. I wish you great success and continued success. And bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye. Caramel Lucas, folks. Hope you enjoyed that. Great insights there. Really inspiring person. I mean, living life on her own terms, performing comedy on her own terms, writing on her own terms, podcasting on her own terms. You can't beat that. I mean, we live in a time where independence and being free to do what you want to do and live life on your own terms is in high demand, and it's something to aspire to. Not a lot of people have the bravery to do it, so I salute her for doing it. I hope you got a lot out of this program. Hope you come back and tell your friends about it and all that stuff. Write to me and let me know what you think about today's program. info@minddogtv.com. Tonight, who do we have? Johnny, we have Chris Rydell will be with us, another episode of Meet the Author. So until then, 8 p.m. tonight, I'm Matt Nappo for the Mind Dog TV podcast. Thanks for coming. Have a great rest of your day. I guess bye for now. I have a music video coming out probably tonight. I'm trying to do something unique and new. Mikey got this new Taylor guitar last week, and we tried it on the gig. And I don't want to do an unboxing video, but I want to do a demonstration video on using the guitar in the recording studio and checking out how it performs in a recording studio. It's something a little different than an unboxing video of a new guitar, because there's plenty of people doing those unboxing things. So I might reveal that tonight after the show. Who knows? 8 p.m. tonight. Join me then. Till then, I'm Matt Nappo for the Mind Dog Podcast, which I already said bye for now. Bye for now. Have a great day.
to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.